Hi guys, my name is Reina and today I'm going to be talking about the agricultural revolution, specifically in Southwestern Asia. Before the revolution, most humans gathered their food through hunting and gathering, which consisted mainly of hunting, trapping, fishing, etc., which was also a form of collecting their food. And then towards the end of the epoch, they began to intensively exploit fish out of many bodies of water, including streams, rivers, lakes, etc. Towards the end of the Pleistocene epoch, the transition of climates began, and it led to a drastic change in not only the climate but also their agriculture and diet. For the climate at the very end of the Pleistocene epoch, these climates changed from cold and dry to warm and wet. And due to these changes in the climate, this also allowed for domestication, or the ability of people to grow plants and raise animals. This ultimately led to the transition of foraging to farming, which marks the Neolithic period, which is the late Pleistocene/early Holocene culture, where humans domesticated plants and animals and ultimately transforming their diets from what they previously had before. And according to Larson from our textbook, Our Origins, agriculture is one of the most transformative developments in the record of hominin evolution, which is why domesticated plants became such an integral part of our food production, which can still be seen today. So now we're going to be discussing the origins of domesticated products. Plants and animal genetics show where domesticated species originated from, and this includes the genetic changes that were documented through breeding experiments and extraction of DNA, as well as human practice, which included the artificial selection versus natural selection. So basically this means that humans would choose certain features that they like in a specific gene of a plant and artificially select those specific traits in order to produce the products that they want. And this included wheat. And due to genetic altercation, wheat eventually was unable to reproduce itself without human intervention, which can be seen in the visual to the right, where wild wheat had less defense against pests and didn't have that much of a chance with survival compared to the improved wheat, where farmers take care of seed distribution, pest defense, plant spacing, planting, acquisition of nutrients, and soil treatment. Now we're going to be talking about the two factors that was brought upon the agricultural revolution. The first one was environmental changes, where local climates suited domestication of plants and animals a lot better than the cold and dry climates that were previous to the late Pleistocene epoch. The second factor was that human population increased where agriculture developed, and as human population increased, people needed more food to support its society, which is why they turned to agriculture and domesticating their animals. More people could also be fed from the same amount of land, and more food was able to be stored and for a longer period of time, which helps support these growing societies. So plant domestication started in around 11 different regions of the world, but we'll be looking specifically at Southwestern Asia today. And according to archaeological evidence and genetic studies, this shows that people intensively harvested grains of wheat and barley, and around 11,500 years before present, they began manipulating the growth of plants and learned how to promote plant growth through the amount of water necessary to grow certain plants, as well as protecting the ants from animals and other harmful predators. So obviously the agricultural revolution began in multiple areas of the world, and we're looking specifically at Southwestern Asia, but there are a few other countries that I'd like to go over quickly. So in China, they began domesticating millet at 10,000 years before present, and then started with rice at 8,000 years before present. And then after Southwest Asia began with the wheat and barley, this also spread to Greece around 8,000 to 7,000 years before present, and then eventually later to Europe as well. And this not only included plant domestication, there were also animals that were domesticated around 30,000 to 15,000 years ago. And they first began with dogs, but this later expanded to goats, sheep, cattle, and pigs by around 8,000 years before present. So taking a look at agriculture today, It's obviously a very huge part of our society and our daily lives. Domesticated plants are crucial for sustaining human population. We have a bunch of food in our grocery stores and multiple different stores just to provide to the different people and their necessities. And a fun fact is that rice has fed more people since its domestication, and a lot of foods that have come up are also called superfoods, and this includes cereal grains, for example, rice, corn, wheat, and this makes up a large portion of the human diet. So I hope this presentation was informative to you on chapter 13, and thank you for listening.